Vinod Sharma is also with us live, MD Deki Electronics, and he's also, of course, the co-chairman for the CII Council on for the IT sector and the electronic sector. Vinod Sharma, welcome to NewsX. Thank you for being with us today. Your overall take on Budget 2024, what did you make of it, sir? The announcements today by the Union Finance Minister.
Thank you. I think it was a very positive, responsible, forward-looking budget, in my opinion. What we observed, you will see that out of the 9 priority areas that Madam FM pointed out, about 4.5 of them had to do with manufacturing, MSMEs, skilling, and employment. So she has put this whole employment agenda absolutely up front there. And I think it is the most important challenge as well as the opportunity for India today. Including what the minister was mentioning a little while ago, the scheme of paid internships at the top 500 companies. I would in fact say that should probably be opened up to let other companies also volunteer for some program like that, because I'm sure there are more than those 500 companies who would like to participate in nation building as envisaged by the government. Particularly, you will see that also in the case of employment, there is something at CII and LCNA that we've been asking for a long time, employment-linked incentive scheme. So not just production-linked incentive schemes served very much larger companies who had a huge amount of investment that they could put in upfront and wait for the results. The MSMEs, who are really the job creators in this country, needed something similar. And so the ELI has gone to some extent and opened up that window. We are happy about that. From an employee-linked incentive scheme perspective. Also, on a manufacturing thing, one of the key things that the government is trying to do, which we could see through the budget, is increase the global competitiveness of manufacturing in India, which is extremely important. So all the productive factors of production that she mentioned, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship, we hope that the steps that will be taken in that area will genuinely make us more competitive. A very small step in that, but very significant step in that area, is the announcement of the PPP scheme for industrial workers' hostels. This is something that I personally have been wanting for a long time. It's close to my heart, because in industrial clusters across the country, we have a way of accommodating owners and managers. But the industrial worker on whose shoulders this entire industrial manufacturing dream rests, unfortunately always have to live in a slum. Because they just cannot afford anything else. And I think so giving them a healthy, hygienic workplace, a place to stay as a hostel and come to work to the industry would augur very well for us to build a healthy workforce and hence a globally competitive manufacturing space.
Specifically,
last, I would say that thing, sorry, the MSME, the whole collateral-free, the credit access that they are getting. I'm very glad that Madam FM has acknowledged that that story is not over yet. It was there after COVID. For a short time, we had a break in that whole access to credit. I'm very happy that they're continuing on that.
Absolutely. I think the MSME sector will be happy with the announcements in the budget today. But very quickly about the electronics, the IT and the manufacturing sector that you operate in. Would you be happy with today's budget? Because these are sectors in which we can truly become leaders in the world.
Absolutely. So the electronic sector is a very good example of us having been, a large importer, and now at least in one area of mobile phones, we are an assembler and an exporter to some extent. But really, I think the good news has just started. Why it's important is that for many years, we have heard that we are good at software, let's stick to that. Hardware, we are not good at it. We cannot compete with the world at a zero duty. So let's forget it. That's a bus that we've missed. Very happy that belief came back to the, through the government and the industry. 6-7 years we've worked on this sector. However, what we've done, Uday, I would say is, it's like a relay race of 4 into 400 meters. So the first leg of 400 meters, which was assembly of electronic items, large electronic items, large-scale electronic items like mobile phones, is the part that we seem to have done reasonably well because of the PLI and because there was a 20% duty on mobile phones. This budget, it was, rightly acknowledged that we are now maturing in that industry. There is a time to bring down that duty from 20 to 15. And also some of the components that we know may or not get manufactured in India, those are the ones where the duties can come down. Having said that, the second leg and all the other legs are equally important. The second one being manufacturing of electronic components. And we've been working very closely with MeitY, with Niti Aayog. There was a paper published last week by Niti Aayog, which is a fantastic acknowledgement of all the facts that go into making components and modules, the challenges around it, and the recommendations. We are told that MeitY, along with Ministry of Finance, is working on that paper now. We were hoping it will be announced in the budgets, but I can quite imagine that it's a very detailed work, and the amount of money that we're asking for is substantial as an overall budget, and hence that will probably be taken up a little later, but definitely before the next budget comes in. So that's the second leg. The third will be design, where we design our own products in our country. And the fourth, in my opinion, is when Indian brands begin to actually go abroad and be established as global world champions. So a little way to go there, but very happy for the electronics sector. It is a very good example of how even in a zero duty or near zero duty environment, we can become not only Atmanirbhar, but we can also become a net exporter on a sector like this, which is extremely critical.
Absolutely. And just, expanding that to the MSME sector that you referred to earlier, and also startup sector as well, which has also seen the angel tax abolition. Do you believe these are good steps for these sectors? Because these are sectors which become job creators as well, Mr. Sharma.
Absolutely. Yeah, the jobs will really come out of startups and small and medium enterprises. I think it's very important that, so I see the budget as, of course, it was the 7th budget by the finance minister, but I think it's we need to look at it as a roadmap to becoming globally competitive, not only in manufacturing, but as an ecosystem. For too long, we've had, as a company, I have to decide, hey, do I want to export? Am I in the small, medium enterprise? Can I become large? And the rules and the taxation around that will change. Same thing was happening with investments in long-term capital, short-term capital. Yes. So I think, for example, the 9th point she raised about next generation reforms. Quite simply, what we are asking for is a total simplification.
Okay.
Out of school should know what his liability as a tax is and should be able to easily do that. So to your point, of similar thing with angel tax.
Yeah.
We need to get firing on all the engines.
Okay.
So whether it's startups, it's SMEs, it's large companies, it's multinational companies, even their tax was lowered. We need to look at this as one large tax regime with as few exceptions as possible, so that the whole process of doing business, the cost of doing business, and finally paying
strides have been made in that direction, and these are, of course, further steps that will be needed in perhaps subsequent days and